let me know when you want me to go ahead and get started. I
I
don't know
think
if
it's
people.
Rhapsody. Rhapsody's the one.
Oh, the
I just
sound
won't
just
talk when
stopped.
he's got his mic on. We're all good. Oh no, you did not. Where's my Broncos tank top?
Ah!
Oh, darn it. Boo. How do I cover that? Boo. You're on mute. I can't hear you. Just kidding. Okay, so let's get started. Monica, you're a new guest to our Sailors Roundtable. Just introduce yourself and who's on your boat name, where you guys are at, what the deal is.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Monica, and I sail with my husband, Mike. We are on Bokenshaw. It's a catamaran, not a Tech 46 Open. We've been sailing for 2 years now, living on our boat full time, and we are currently in Guatemala, where it is super hot, and I'm sparkly. Yeah, so we've just been learning something new every day. I love coming on groups like this where I can hear from my fellow sailors and learn more and expand our knowledge as much as possible. So thank you for having this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. I know we've tried to connect in the past, and
Yeah.
now we finally got you. So it sounds like you
Yes.
guys are super busy down there. But
Yes.
yeah,
We're on
getting
the hard, and I'm sitting under the boat right now,
Mhm.
and it's the coolest spot here
That's
under
so
the boat.
sweet. That's awesome. Well, very cool. Okay, Sailing Rhapsody, you're up.
Can I ask one thing?
Oh,
Sorry.
yes, of course.
Manta Bear is WhatsApping me. Can you
Uh-huh.
tell Randy
Oh, I see him.
that we are live, but there is
Thank
something
you.
going wrong. I don't know, but I'm mute again. Oh, there they
We don't
coming.
need them.
Okay,
Got him. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'm
guys.
I'm mute again.
Appreciate that. Sorry.
Thank you, Neil. All right, go for it, buddy.
Okay, my name is Alex. I sail with my fiance Sam. We took off down the Mississippi River in 2020, and we sail on a 1972 30-foot CNC. And we're currently in Wisconsin right now at home, but we'll be heading back down to Key Largo, where the boat's sitting soon, to get back aboard and head back out.
Super cool. Where would you rather be right now, Wisconsin or Key Largo?
Pardon?
Where would you rather be right now? Key Largo.
Key Largo. It's beautiful here, though. It's 72 degrees, sunshine, nice breeze. It's just perfect. Nice fall day. Everything's turning. The leaves are starting to turn. And corn's turning. Soybeans are turning. So
Yeah, love it. Very cool. Thank you, Blaine in the brown jersey.
Hi. We are Blaine and Marnie. We are on SV Cameo. We are in Grenada, suspiciously close to the people who are right underneath us. And we live on a Leopard 40 catamaran. And we are building our chops, cruising the Caribbean till we can cross the ocean.
Super cool. Fresh and salty, Stephen Luttrell.
Hey, we are Latrell and Steven. We are currently in where are we? New Bern, North Carolina. Completely blank.
Can I just stop you? Look at your jackets. I need that. I can't wait to get where you guys are.
Yes, I was going to say we are probably the only ones wearing jackets, but I'm freezing.
Oh my gosh.
We're leaving on Wednesday though to start heading further north to Annapolis, right?
Yeah.
We are leaving on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
No, that's
if we don't kill each other first.
We are on a 40-foot Gino. So I'm on a hawk, no catamaran.
Aw. That's okay. We're pretty even today, I think. Cats versus monos. I think. 1, 2.
4-2, isn't it?
We're almost in a tie here, so that's awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Salty 5.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are the Salty Five. My family is at the moment on a barbecue with some friends, so I'm alone on the boat, but I'm a family of 5, and I'm currently in Grenada right now. And for the people who are in Grenada, it's pretty windy and stormy here. So we talk about weather today, but it's going crazy. So that's me. We are on an Amel, Super Maramu, and we are a family of 5. Two daughters and one son.
Perfect. Thank you, Manta Bear.
Go for it.
You.
We're a family of 4 with a cat, and we live on a catamaran, a Lagoon 500, and currently here also in Grenada, just a couple bays south of the Salty 5, and right next to Sailing Cameo. They just came in this morning, which was nice. Been on the boat since February, sailing.
Very cool. Thanks, guys. Well, I'm Randy. I'm on a sailing vessel Constantina. We are also catamaran, a 2002 Fontaine Peugeot Athena. It's 38 feet long. And it used to be a family of 3, but our kiddo recently turned 18, moved off, got his own job, going to college, blah, 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 and doesn't want to be with us anymore. So now my only child is a fat, furry dog. And my husband. So we're traveling north. We're semi-retired and empty nesters now, traveling north, hopefully getting up to Annapolis at some point this early fall. So fingers crossed. That's our plan right now. We're currently sitting in Sebastian, Florida on our way north to Cape Canaveral. So that's our deal. We're going to get right into weather, and this is perfect if you guys are dealing with weather in Grenada. This is something that you guys can attest to right now. What we do is I'll ask the question. I'll let Monica go first, and if you guys can kind of just keep it to like about 1 minute answer. I know you can go on and on. Thank you, and that's totally fine. But we'll get. If there's more time at the end, I know people want to get back to their football games, so we'll try to get through this pretty quickly. And then if there's questions, we'll answer questions at the end of the live here. So the first question is just reading the sky. What are the most reliable visual cues you use to predict changing weather while at sea? Monica?
All right. So, first of all, clouds off in the distance we're always looking out to see what's coming, what's around us. You always want to kind of keep an eye as to what's happening and changing in the weather. Oftentimes you'll feel the wind will pick up before something comes along. So you'll feel it if you're underway, like suddenly there'll be a shift in something in the boat. And that's when you're going to maybe pick your head up and take a quick look around as to what's going on. You'll see the wind is picking up, and that's when we'll respond. I don't know the names of the clouds. I'm not that, I don't know that deep, but there is also an intuition. You learn over time as you're out there, and you start to understand the cues. So it's looking at the clouds, it's feeling the wind picking up. Those are the primary things I think that we look at, and it has just started to pour here. It's coming down here, with rain, so super humid. And I just was thinking it was going to start raining because you can feel the humidity level just rose, and I started sweating, got hot, and now it's pouring rain. Those are like you can pick up those little signs of changing weather and when to start paying attention and then respond if you need to. That's my basics,
Okay.
I think.
It's great. Thank you. Alex?
Yeah.
Definitely a gut feeling. The big anvil clouds. Pay attention to which way it's moving. And like she said, typically you'll get that temperature change and winds before a storm comes. It's always a very good sign to reef if you're going to reef, or just take a good visual and see what's coming at you. So visuals, that's basically it. Just those nasty dark clouds. You can tell if they're dumping rain in the distance. It's another kind of indicator that either you're gonna get wet or you can get hit hard. I learned all that the hard way, by the way. So
Come later in the conversation.
For sure.
Lane?
For me, there's also that ozone smell. When you're up there at the helm, you can smell that almost that ozone that I call it ozone. I don't know if it really is, but it's that smell before the rain.
Yeah.
It travels a lot further on the water than land. And so it's just like, oh, what's that for? Oh, and then you start diving for hatches and stuff like that.
The other thing that we have come to notice too, that if you're trying to anchor, pull anchor or grab a mooring ball, the weather's coming. Because every single time we try and do that, it starts raining and windy. We can have no wind the entire time. We try and pull anchor or drop anchor or catch a mooring ball. The weather's coming.
It's 20 knots at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every time.
But the indicators for me, like I say, was the smell, and you'll start to see your sails acting different. Well, nothing's changed. The trade winds haven't changed, right? So there's got to be a storm somewhere. And there's many times where I'm listening to a podcast or not really paying much attention, but the sail will flap. Well, then I'll do that 360 prairie dog, like, okay, where's the squall? Because the squall can pull weather, depending on which way it's coming from. It'll pull weather and change your wind 30, 40 miles away from the storm. Even if it's not near you, you can see it and you're like, oh, well, that's going to spin us.
Which we're actually spinning a little bit right now.
Right. So that's the sail flap and the smell.
Cool. What's wrong, Stephen?
Pretty much the same, but we also watch out for wall clouds. So if there's a front coming through, you can pretty much spot those fairly consistently.
I didn't know the name of them, but whatever. The clouds in the distance. It looked like you're going to knock you over. The other thing is, before a squall comes, I feel like the temperature always drops. Especially if it's really hot. The minute I feel like a cooler anything, I'm closing hatches and let's roll in the sails, whatever, because we're about to get hit. Even if you can't see anything. As soon as the temperature drops, almost always we get hit by a squall after. Yeah? Do you get anything else?
Perfect. Salty Five?
I'm in a storm right now. Sorry, I jumped off because I'm looking out the windows for a couple of moments, or there are no boats dragging into my boat because it's going crazy here, and I see all people flying around. But about when I'm on the sea, I made a bad start without internet when I bought the boat, and I came in a couple of storms. So I learned fast, but I'm always looking like 10 miles or 50 miles in front of me. And if I see clouds coming, then I look in which direction they're going, and then I'm searching for the best solution, what to do at that moment. But in the beginning, I hit them all, all the thunder, lightning, and all that stuff. But now, you like what a lot of people explain, you feel it, like the temperature is dropping, and you see them coming, and you're looking where they're going. Sometimes it's good to slow down, sometimes go a little bit up or go downwind. So yeah, that's what I do.
Perfect. Vantamir?
So I think most of it was like kind of answered, but yeah, that change in temperature, I would say that's really like the first sign, like, oh, it just got a little cold. And then you start looking and you see, it starts raining. And usually we also look for the black clouds and where they're moving. Where's the wind pushing them? Is it pushing it this direction or like somewhere else? And what else would we say?
Well, it's like that. And like this morning, there was a storm off in the distance, and we felt the temperature change, and it's coming towards us. We're on anchor, and it's the question of, okay, when's it going to hit? And we're watching it. We see it. It's split into 3 different patterns actually, and one disappeared, and then the other 2 just kind of went on each side of us. So we got a little bit of the rain. As we're talking right now, and I hear my kids actually going to get the windows.
Yeah.
As you guys were answering, I think when it got to Cameo answering, we were actually feeling the temperature drop, and I knew that there's weather coming. And then Salty Five's term, they said they're getting hit, and I know they're just north of us. So yeah, that's weather they're in is now right around us, and the rain's coming down.
Look at that. Look at that
even have
perfect
to do that
example. You guys queued this up perfectly. Great job, Cameo. You guys planned this so well down there in Grenada. This is amazing. And Grenada people, or anyone, if you do have to go for a weather-related emergency, by all means, feel free to just get up and leave. Oh yeah, look at that.
And there's Cameo right there,
Oh,
getting
look at that,
drenched.
crazy. That's awesome. It's hitting one after the other. Wow. Yeah, you guys.
Keep an eye that we're not drifting.
Yeah, you can see that you're not dragging in this video.
Yeah, you're holding good.
If you look in the comments, Zelda made a really good comment about you could take classes about the clouds from the NOAA. I didn't know that, but that's something really to look into.
Predict Wind has a really good class too, and it's good on the tube of views. So I would just add in two things. My husband brought up a really good suggestion was when we have our AIS on and we think there may be a storm system or something away from us, we can always click on a boat that we knew was going, say, 8 knots, 9 knots, or something like that. And if they've slowed way down to 4 or 5 knots, if we knew they were traveling at a certain speed, that may give us an indication as to they're coming into that front. We know how far away, maybe they're a mile or 2 miles away from us, then we know exactly just about when it's going to hit us. So that was a good tip. And then I think for me too is also knowing, seeing the water, seeing the rain on the water for me too is like you can see it and you know it's coming closer and closer because it's just this wall of white coming towards you. So that's a big indicator for me too is like, okay, I smell it, I feel it, where is it? You can visually see it. And another thing, I love sailing because I grew up in the mountains of Colorado. So the weather, you never knew until it was really on top of you because you couldn't see very far. But being a sailor, you can see these things progressing towards you from pretty far away, farther than you'd think. So that's kind of cool. Okay, we're going to move on to the second question. And viewers, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I'm going to try to copy and paste, and then we'll get to all the questions at the end of our, we've got like 5 questions to get through. So the next one is tech versus tradition. How do you balance modern weather apps and forecasts with old school observation and seamanship? NOAA might come into play here. So Monica, you're first.
Yeah, so I was trained on modern. So the old school I've tried, I am not that skilled. The old school would be using your eyes, your ears, your skin, your hair, your feeling, your gut intuition. I think what we were talking about before with the weather, the clouds, that uh, you know, in the olden days, that's what they did. And now there's a lot more out there. I think it has made sailing easier in some ways, as long as you have internet connection and can check in regularly. Um, and yeah, I use that technology. I rely on that technology, and it's scary if your system goes down, or because we rely on Starlink, and when Starlink goes down, if we are in a storm, you get the like rain delay, and that can make me feel uncomfortable when we aren't connected. So you do need to understand the old ways too. You do need to understand how to read what's going on. Um, but I, number one, depend on the modern systems. There's a lot of options out there that can tell you what to look at. Radar and whatever else. There's all kinds of systems. We have them all on our boat, all the safety measures. And yeah, just always being vigilant is important. So yeah,
Beautiful.
anybody else?
If I'm understanding the question, I had a train go by when you were saying the question. So it's old school versus new school.
Yeah. How do you balance modern weather apps and forecasts with old school observation and seamanship?
Okay, I'm a new school guy, so yeah, I depend a lot on radar and weather forecasting and stuff like that. My knowledge of weather is, like everybody, what you see looks bad, looks good, that sort of thing. I have learned though that if you're in an area and you can talk to an old salty sailor, one of those people that have developed that sixth sense of weather, they're the people to go to. So new school. I'm radar and weather forecasting primarily.
Perfect. Wayne?
Believe it or not, that's one of the things I'm more old school on than new school. We don't have radar on our boat, not by choice, but by finances. um, and I've never actually met somebody who's kept their radar running for a full year. Um, I haven't yet. I mean, this group might have somebody in there, but a full cruising season, a full year of having the radar work not stop without problems. But we use modern techniques. YouTube forecasts on a guy named Mr. Weatherman. We look at windy, we look at predict wind, and we look at all the different models before leaving an anchorage, before we head out the passage. But once we're out there, those models don't mean anything. You're stuck out there now. Then it's when we rely on, okay, Noah didn't tell me that this squall or this storm was coming through, but I'm in it. I can smell it coming. I can see it coming. Then we kind of rely on how far are we going? Are we going to be able to beat it, or should we just sit here for a minute and let it skirt in front of us? Like, I almost think of it like an NFL running back, right? Am I going to try and dart past it? Am I going to try and go to the side of it? Am I going to try and juke it, or am I just going to absorb this hit and stiff arm it? And because none of those tools really help you once your sails start flapping. So that's my I use old school when we're on the water, but we use all the new school techniques to determine when to leave and go out on the water. And if you're watching our lives this morning, me and Manta Bear were talking back and forth. We're watching the storm. Me and Marnie were timing it. Like, okay, it took 30 minutes to get from this part of the island to that part of the island. That means it's going to take another 30 minutes to get that much further. But if you actually went onto the radar of our area for AccuWeather,
It was clear.
it was clear. There was no storm in our area.
Wow.
So,
Eyes. Eyes. Fresh and salty?
Yeah, we mainly use, newer technology. I couldn't live without my radar, so.
I will say that we've had our radar, we've had it on the boat for 4.5 years. We didn't learn how to use it at all until 2 years ago, and it's been up and running perfect for 2 years. But we only turn it on. We don't keep it on 24/7. We only turn it on if there is weather. So maybe it's lasted longer because we don't run it as much, but we haven't ever had a problem with it.
No.
We just didn't know what we were doing when we first bought it, so we never turned it on because we didn't understand it. But
And then predict wind, I mean, that's only good for 12 hours anyway, because they update the forecasts. And then I like to listen to Mr. Weatherman because I think he's the most accurate as far as hurricanes and long distance forecasting goes. Plus, he doesn't get into a panic about it, whereas a lot of other channels do. And then we use, because we've got Starlink, I'm constantly looking at the weather radar on the Weather Channel.
I think the other thing that is the most important thing we look at before we ever leave is the Cape Index. And we didn't learn about that until 2.5, 3 years ago. And because we didn't know about it, we've been in some of the worst situations offshore that we could possibly put ourselves in because we didn't know. We just didn't have a clue. And we got caught out in a Cape Index of over 4,000 once because we didn't know to even check it. And ever since we learned about Cape Index, it's the number one thing we look at when we start talking about moving. What is the Cape Index going to be?
Yep.
You think?
Definitely a good piece of, very helpful piece of information for the Cape Index. We didn't really learn about that until recently, too. I didn't. I think pretty sure my husband knew. I was like, wow, that's very helpful. Salty 5?
Fresh to salty. I missed the big thing that you did to don't come in worse situations. The last tip that you give. Can you repeat that?
The Cape Index. On your weather apps, there should be a section that tells you about Cape Index.
Yes.
We didn't know until we were on our way to last time we went to Virginia, so almost 3 years ago. If it's like a 2,000 or 1,500 or more, and you don't have any experience, you should not be out there. Because you just don't go. Stay inside. We didn't know that. And we got caught out, and it was over 4,000. It was pretty bad. And our friends that were texting us during the middle of the storm were like, what the heck are you doing out there with this Cape Index? And we're like, what's a Cape Index? We had no clue. But it was like a 4-hour storm that it broke our autopilot. It was that rough. So yeah, Cape Index is like top priority for me when we start talking about moving.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yes, I'm a new school sailor, but also a little bit old school sailor. When I'm on the water, you have no choice anymore. And after a year experience on the sea, and we hit a couple of storms because we didn't pay good attention to the weather apps, and our Starlink stopped for a week, so we didn't have internet on the boat, and we had to go from St. Martin to Grenada, so we came in 2 storms with over 45 knots of winds. So then you want to learn about weather, and so I think I feel the weather much better, and also about new school things. What I find out, I have 2 plotters on the boat, one by the steering wheel, one downstairs, and I had 2 iPhones on board and 1 iPad, and I lost 4 GPSs on 1 trip. So you cannot believe that's possible. So I renew everything right now. I buy everything new plotters, new electronics, everything new, because even my iPhone stopped working. So I like to upgrade everything, new radar, new electronics. We will getting that with a couple of weeks. So I'm new school sailor, but I'm also like what Sailing Cameo says. Like if you met people who are like for years and years already living on board, I always like to chat a little bit with them. Hey, I'm planning the next couple of days to go. What you thinking? Because a lot of people, they're having other, sorry for my English guys, but other viewing on the situation. So I'm still learning, but I like it. I getting better and better in it. So yeah, that's it.
Nancy Bear?
I would say Jeff is the one that does a lot of the watching of the weather. He watches the weather man. What is it? The weather on YouTube.
On YouTube, weatherman, definitely.
Yeah, and then the other thing we learned pretty quickly, it wasn't that you have to watch for you do have to watch for the wind, but also mainly we watch a lot for the sea state. So the sea state is the one that is gonna make us more dizzy, like it feels like it's tearing the boat apart when you're sailing. So we try to avoid the ocean, like the open ocean, when it's really bad sea state. But we rely a lot on the different apps like Windy,
Zoom Earth. Yeah, using apps. So it's like when you compare the old school to new school, kind of a mix. I think how Sailing Cameo said, when you leave the anchorage, you're probably looking at the apps because that's what you have and what you visual around you. But when you get out of the bay, I'm not looking at the apps nearly as much. I'm looking actually on the visuals, what's around me, what I feel, what I smell, what I see, what my gut's just telling me of, you know what? Let's go back to that anchorage. We'll go tomorrow. Or this is great. Wow, this is so much better than it was. Yeah, it's a long sail. We'll be doing good. Occasionally, I'll still look at the apps while we're out, and especially if it's a longer sail, to see if things are updated and what's going on. But a lot where we're going. If we're just doing a short sail where we're hopping from one island to the next, and it's only going to last a few hours, that's going to be different how we approach it than if we're doing a 20-hour sail or a 3-day sail for what we're looking at and how we go about it. So definitely a mix. Rely on the tech, and we do have a radar, and we've got all the fun equipment, and Sailing Cameo, we're lucky. Ours has been lasting for over a year. It was brand new a year ago. Maybe that's why. So our boat had previously been struck by lightning, and so all of our equipment's new. And so it's a matter of using it, learning it, relying on it. But I still find it hard to rely solely on tech when I'm look out and I see something different, because I've been in many storms where
It didn't say anything
didn't
on
say anything on the
Yeah.
apps. It's not there. So
And to
Yes.
interject on that too, Jeff, what we've noticed too, especially if we're in an area like we've been in Grenada now for a month and a half, 2 months, you kind of start to be able to time what the apps say versus what really happens. And what we've
Yeah.
kind of started to realize too is that it seems like everything comes earlier than what the app will show. So we kind of gauge on that too. If it's like, oh, well, we were planning on leaving at 10 because they say the storm's going to be done by 10. A lot of times the storm's actually done by like 7 or 8 and we can leave earlier than that. So
Yeah.
if you're in an area for long enough, you can kind of start to gauge what happens in that area a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, entirely does. Fully agree.
Well, Sailor Sean came on in. He's been in a roundtable before. Sailor Sean, do you want to jump in, or do you want me to go first, and you can prepare an answer for technology?
Go right ahead. I don't even know the question right now.
Okay, so we're basically just talking tech versus tradition. How's it going? And how do you balance modern weather apps and forecasts with old school observation and seamanship? I was going to throw in the three things that we kind of look for is we pay attention to the buoy data, because the buoy data is living in the moment of what's happening out there. So yeah, the app can say one thing, but that guy is out there with like giving us the data in real time, and it's telling us 10-foot seas. So we probably don't want to go out there, you know? So the app can tell us one thing, but that data is really important to us. Our eyes, of course. We were told by a salty sailor once that we were looking across towards the Bahamas, and he was telling us, look for the elephants. So kind of like the white caps of the waves. If you see the elephants kind of going right after each other out there on the horizon, you probably don't want to go. So that was kind of a cool tip for us too. But we've got all the apps. You know, someone had actually asked if anyone uses Weather Underground. Lex had asked if anyone uses Weather Underground. I think that's one of them that we have. She says it's a pretty good weather app for timing of storms. So maybe look into that one. We do actually have radar. This is our first, let's see, I believe we got it just a couple months ago. So this will be really our big first trip with the radar. We've loved it so far, not only for weather, but also for seeing boats out there as well. So Sailor Sean, do you want to jump in on technology, on how you spot the weather?
I'm pretty basic on that. I like to use Windy for my app choice here in the Keys, at least, because I've tried a couple of different other apps, and Windy was usually spot on, so I just stuck with it. And then for GPS and stuff, I've got a Garmin touchscreen chart plotter, and then I have the Garmin app on my phone. So if one goes down, I still have the charts that I've downloaded. But, you know, kind of basic.
Hey, basic's good. It won't fail, right? Most of the time. Most of the time. So, okay, we're moving on to storm strategy. What's your personal approach when you know a squall or storm is on the way? Monica?
All right. So if we know a storm is on the way, we are staying put. We're not going to go out, and we're always checking for comfort. We want to look at the swells and all of that. Well, all these things that we've discussed, we're going to check that, and we might postpone our trip and just wait a little longer until we get a good weather window. For us, we're not in a rush. I hate to sail and we're like, you have to get somewhere, at a certain time, and that makes it risky. It's when you have to be somewhere on time that you put yourself at risk, because you're just ignoring what the weather and the warning signs say. So if we know something's coming, we're not going out there flat out. And thankfully, at this point in our 2 years that we've been living and traveling all throughout the Atlantic, we haven't hit any major storms. I mean, we've typically been anchored, and we've done really well in that we haven't dragged, we haven't had issues when storms have passed us, but we've always just waited them out. And I feel like we've done a pretty good job at our weather windows and making our moves have been pretty good because of the apps we use, because we are literally checking. We check with our friends. We actually travel in a group as well. They're boaters, and we're all chatting and making our decisions together. I think that helps a lot if you can bounce your thoughts off with other people that are going in the same path. Um, yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but
I think
I think
so.
those are the things that we look at.
It's a great strategy. Alex?
So this is preparation for weather. Is that the question?
What do you do, your personal approach when you know a smaller storm is on the way?
Okay. Yeah, it depends. You know, if you're at the dock, you know, a storm's coming. Pop fenders, adjust lines. You know, make sure that you're protected from slamming into the dock and that sort of thing. If you're on anchor, dive on the anchor. Make sure you got a good hold. Batten the hatches. You know, all that kind of stuff. If I'm underway, if I see a storm coming, I'll drop sails or reef immediately because you just don't know how strong that storm is going to be or what's going to be like when it reaches you. So I prepare for the worst first and then adjust after.
Perfect. Marnie and Blaine?
We are notorious hurricane hunters without having a license. We don't know why, but they seem to find us.
Me
So-
especially.
Yeah. What I would say is it depends on what the size of the storm is and how far in advance. Like she was saying, you don't leave when the storm's imminent. Last year we got hit by Hurricane Ernesto in St. Thomas. We listened to our insurance, and it was the worst decision we could have made. If we had just headed west to Puerto Rico or just headed east to St. Martin, the 7 days in advance we knew the storm was coming, we would have been fine. Our insurance told us we had to check into this marina, we had to spiderweb our boat a certain way, we had to send them pictures, and we did that. And our boat got trashed. I mean, cleats ripped off. I was 7 hours at the helm of driving the boat forward and backwards with the swell. We had a mega yacht break free and come at us. And all of this is captured by our friends who are just sitting down on mooring ball, chilling and watching and taking pictures. But if you have time, leave. That's why we're in Grenada this year for hurricane season. But if you know it's coming and you can't do anything, the thing that hurts the boat the most is land, right? So plan where you are to where if you do drag or if you are going to be carried away, that you're not carried right into the seawall, not carried right into an island. Know which direction the wind's going to come from at the two different parts of the storm so that you know which way your boat's going to go and you're not taking out a boat behind you or in front of you. Yeah. We kind of like to create a distance when we're planning for a storm.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Fresh to salty?
Okay. So we have not always been very good at planning for the weather. Anyway. So the minute that I realized, like, obviously if we know that there's weather, we're not leaving. But if we have in the past been caught out a lot. So luckily we have 3 teenagers on this boat. And the minute the weather changes, like the temperature drops, the wind picks up, like you just know something's coming. It's all hands on deck. Everything's out of the cockpit. The cushions, we have lost cushions off the back of the boat. The cushions are down. Anything that we've got out here, because we tend to have a lot of just cups and stuff out everything goes down there. But first, everybody puts on their life jackets. While they do that, we bring the sails in. Like, everybody knows their job. There's a storm. Everybody come do your job. So Steven and Talon take down the sails. Me and the girls take everything downstairs. The girls know where the life jackets are, and they start handing them out right away. Like, we have a whole list of how we do it. We don't even need to listen anymore. We just do it. It's kind of the same if we catch a fish and say there's a fish on, and everybody knows what to grab and move and get out of the way so we can get the fish on board. So I think having a routine is important. Mm-hmm. Early on, we didn't have a routine. but we did have multiple anchor alarms set. And I will honestly say we drug from North Carolina to Florida the first year. We just drug the whole way. Non-stop. We didn't know how to anchor, and we just was dragging all everywhere. And every single time we would start dragging, there would be like 5 anchor alarms going off. And every time it's like, you re-panic. Like completely freak out, just like I did when it first went off. So one of our number one rules is turn off all your alarms. The minute you realize there's an issue, turn off every single alarm. Because that way we don't panic now. I mean, nowadays we just stand in the cockpit and because we don't hardly ever drag now, because we learned how to anchor. But now me and my daughter just stand in the cockpit and point at the other boats and tell them what they're doing. They're dragging, but they're seasick. They should have put their cushions in.
And then, I mean, if we're at anchor, we'll probably let out more chain.
Yes, always. More chain.
Obviously, you want more weight on the seabed. That will help. Our boat survived Hurricane Milton going straight through it on a mooring ball in Vero Beach.
Yes.
It's probably one of the most protected mooring sites available. And their balls are mooring rated.
Hurricane rated.
But we learned a valuable lesson from that in that you need to take your anchor off the front of the boat because that'll actually chafe through the mooring ball lines. So there's things like that.
We came within a half of a rope of our boat, of losing our boat here in Milton, and we weren't here. We evacuated because we were right in the path. Our friends came out to check on the boat, and there was a half of a rope still holding us on. So definitely use the chap guards, which we have pieces of firefighter hose on ours, and put extra ropes and take your anchor off.
And take your anchor off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Salty 5, storm strategy.
Yes. We came 2 times in a storm because without having internet, and the insurance asked us to be in 2 weeks to be in Grenada. So we've been in a rush, and the storm was heavy for a couple of hours, and I don't want to be in that situation anymore. So if I see a storm coming, I'm not going out. And if I don't know any information, I will not go out, and I will never rush anymore. And if we are on a mooring or on anchor, we've been last year and we had our sails at the sailmaker and our engine was apart and Hurricane Beryl came in. And then a boat hit our boat with $40,000 damage and that didn't pay. And last year again, we've been in backway and another boat hit us again. So what I always do, if there is a storm coming, I'm in the front of my boat looking out of my windows and I have an anchor. You can tie up on my boat in the back and I will not move. So I upgrade my anchor. But we learned a lot in 1 year and a lot of expensive lessons too. And the biggest lesson is never be in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, that's what I do. That's it.
Perfect. Manspare?
Okay, so the first storm we were in, it was actually a beautiful day in St. Martin. And then I was hanging with my friend. Her husband calls and she's like, we have to go. There's a storm coming right now. And I was like, what? Like, okay. So we went to our boat. By the time we got to the dinghy and just drove in the dinghy, we were drenched. It was raining so hard. The sea state was like, you could see the bottom of the other boats. And it's our first storm, but our friends who had more experience, he was like, you guys need to turn on both engines. You're going to be watching for other boats, like if they are, like they broke anchor, and you're going to try to you're not going to like move your boat, but you're going to try to, if they're coming to you, then you're going to try to move. And also be ready to cut your chain. Which I was like, okay, I don't know how to do that, but good thing we didn't come to that. And I would say we stayed there looking for everyone. If there was boats dragging, what else? What else did we do? Like the engines on, praying a lot. I remember that, and I mean that was like very unexpected. And
yeah, it really depends on what kind of storm. This one was something out of the blue, and it was a storm with lots of rain, lots of wind, but it also had thunder and lightning. And so if you're going to get struck, you're not going to be able to start your engine most likely. So have it running in the beginning. And so you have a lot more control. And there were a couple of boats in that anchorage that had drug. And we were in the wind direction had changed. And so keep in mind, you know, what direction were you pointing when you dropped your anchor? So your anchor's dug into the sand or the seabed at a certain direction. And if you go 180 degrees from that, it's not really holding anymore. Yes. We weren't quite 180 degrees, but we were a definite 90, almost 100 degrees turned in this storm. And so it's watch us, but also watch everybody around us of what they're doing. Are they on their boat? Are they prepared to maneuver their boat if it does drag? So just really paying attention.
And I think we also had that one time we had dropped like 7 feet of chain for one to
7
water.
to 1.
Yeah, and I think that was really good because I was honestly thinking, okay, if we start dragging, that would be on me because I am the one that set the anchor. but we weren't dragging, and I was like,
yeah, no, it's we didn't drag. Everything worked out well, but it was a great experience to go through. It taught us a lot. Of being at anchor with the storm coming in, knowing to batten the hatches. And I love that phrase now. I know what it means, living on a boat. But you batten the hatches and you're making sure everything's tied down and you make sure, okay, depends on how bad the storm is. Okay, kids, family, I know we're on anchor. Put your life vests on.
That's what
this is a bad storm.
Yes.
And be prepared for whatever's going to come. And we were prepared and very close to have to lift our anchor and move because there were some boats dragging in front of us. Right behind us is a seawall of a whole bunch of rocks piled. And so we can't really move too much. And so it's be prepared for the unexpected. And that's at anchor. But if we're out at sea, it's very similar of, you know, what do you do if a storm's coming? First of all, where is it going? Is it coming directly at you? Can you turn? Can you get out of its way? If you're already moving, sometimes that's an option. I know when we were sailing south here to Grenada, there was a squall that popped up, and I was like, Grace, I know this is out of our way, but we're going to turn to starboard here for a bit, and we're going to go another half hour this direction because I don't want to hit that squall. I'm measuring where it's going in its direction, and let's avoid it. It's not that I'm afraid of a little bit of rain. It's not that I'm afraid of a little bit more wind, but I don't want to put undue stress on myself, on my family, on our boat, on our rigging. We were already had a reef in, so we were safe in that regards. Otherwise, we would have probably added a reef. But those are the things to definitely watch out for. If you're out at sea, put a reef in, or try and turn away, because the best way to avoid it is to not head straight for it and not let it head straight for you.
One thing to note that I would like to say offline, I think all three of us should get together and compare when we were in St. Martin, because I think we were all in the same storm all next week. Because what you're describing
that was a crazy storm.
St. Martin.
Yep.
I got a great video from that.
We don't have video, but I have memories of, I know what the underside of many boats looks like. They were that high out of the water. It was scary. There was a poor family, and you know, this kind of goes in suit with it. There's a poor family that was on land, and they were trying to go back out to their boat. And it was a husband and a wife and their 2 children. They spent 30 to 40 minutes trying to get from their dinghy onto their boat because of the rocking and the swaying. Yeah. And there's nothing that we could do. We talked about, can we help them? Can we drop our dinghy? Can we go assist? But it would have been the same thing. And it was a matter of one of the things of grace. I told her, I said, hey, if somebody goes in the water, one of us probably will get our life preserver and we will swim with one of those kids to shore.
Yeah.
And it's like, Grace, you'll stay with the kids on the
just
boat.
Made it on the moment. Like if one of those kids falls, like I'll probably stay with the boat, and then he's gonna go try save.
Take the life preserver and try and jump in and take the kid to shore, because they would have the wind pattern, the wave, they would have come directly back at us. That's all we could really do.
You were in the center of Marigot Bay during that storm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched the same couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's crazy.
we would have met since then.
Thanks, guys. Sailor Sean, storm strategy.
Well, when I first got into boat life, I was living in a teardrop trailer and a Scion XB on the road. So I went from when I went to like go to bed, like I could barely even just sit up. Now I can actually like stand up and have a bathroom and stuff. So it was a moving on up kind of thing. And I didn't know how to sail when I got into boat life too. So obviously I didn't know that I should be checking the weather. So I went out to learn how to sail, luckily on good weather days. But then when I moved from one end of the Keys to the other, I was like, oh, it's just a little bit of wind. That's when you're supposed to go sailing, right? Yeah, no, bad idea. I've got caught in some really nasty storms enough to make me a better sailor, but also know that now I'm a champagne sailor. I like to check the weather, and if it's not good weather, sorry, I'm not going. It's not fun anymore, you know. But same, if you get caught into a storm, like say you go and a storm just pops up, I'm okay with like seeing how long the storm is going to go through, and just put the sails away, toss the anchor down, and go inside and ride it out. But if it's not going to be that bad, just reef it as much as you possibly can, or maybe even drop a sail all the way and have, you know, another sail reefed and ride it out. But no, I'm a champagne sailor just because I've been through some nasty stuff and I didn't enjoy it, you know, the sail along the way, and so I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Learned your lesson.
Yep.
Yeah, for us, most of the time, you know, if we are sailing, the hurricanes are a completely different story. But if we are sailing, we do the same thing you guys have mentioned: reef the sails before it's time. Put on our foul weather gear. Normally, it gets pretty chilly if it's windy and rainy and hail and that sort of thing. You can get really cold. So we usually have our foul weather gear, which is just like rain jacket, rain pants at the ready. Life jackets are on if they're not on already. We strap into the harness. These are all things that, you know, like you said, I love you have a list and everyone has a job to do. This is the job. Now there's just two of us. There's not three, so we're going to have to readjust our list, but I'm sure it'll still be just fine. I'll have more jobs to do now. Another thing is, you know, if our radar's not on, the radar then goes on, and then prep the boat, make sure all of our safety items are ready and to deploy as well. They can't just be covered. I'm viewing my husband's hats are hanging on our EPIRB right now. Like, that's probably not going to work. So we need to clear everything and get it prepped and ready for deployment if needed. And then our VHF at the ready, of course, in case, heaven forbid, we ever had to call. We want to make sure that VHF is ready. Okay, we're going to skip wind shifts and local knowledge, but we're going to get into the really meaty part of this, which I'm sure people are interested to hear about, is your lessons learned. So can you share a memorable experience, you already have already, but I'm sure you guys have many, a memorable experience where the weather taught you an important lesson on the water? Welcome, Sean.
All right. So I think we've all been through those basic squalls and things like that. But the one that comes to my memory the most, we were up north. I want to say off of New Jersey. And we came into some deep fog. So it wasn't a storm. It was just, I couldn't see my hand out in front of me, thick kind of fog. My husband stood at the front of the boat while I was driving the boat, and we could not see a thing. And it was in the middle of the day. And we have radar. And so I know a couple of people that has said they don't have radar. And I just am so thankful for that radar because there were fishermen out. We couldn't see them. He would yell, "Did you just see the buoy?" No, I didn't see a thing. You cannot see. And you get dizzy. It feels like you're looking forward and you're seeing kind of like the fog moving back, and you feel dizzy. And so the only way I could navigate is I had to just look down at our navigation system, and it was like playing a video game, just kind of going following that and not what my eyes saw, because it's different. Like you get all discombobulated. It was very scary, and I'm very thankful for the radar in that instance. And I've learned that is what I really appreciated when we were in a scenario like that, and it just caught us completely off guard, because the weather systems don't tell you when it's going to be super foggy necessarily. And it was I feel like that was one of our kind of scarier moments. Also, it continued throughout the day. It would come and go, and it hit us late at night also. And we were planning to pull into to anchor for the night into a little fishing town off of the coast there, and we couldn't see a thing. I could not see anything going into it, and just navigating our way in there was radar and my navigation systems that made it possible. And I'm just super thankful nothing bad happened. And we've been through the small stores. I'm sure a lot of you guys have those stories to share. So I wanted to just share this one just because it's kind of a little different that you don't always expect. But when you're in the north, you can get into some scary, scary deep fog situations, which there's no wind. It's dead calm, but man, is it scary.
That's
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Alex?
All right. So my most scary experience, I was a fairly new sailor. It was my first time on saltwater. Just got out of the Mississippi River. Just got out of Mobile Bay. Came down the Mississippi, Tennessee, Ohio River, Convict Waterway, and then into Mobile Bay, and then I was going to cross the Gulf. No electronics at that time. I'm doing all this with an iPad and avionics, and that was it. And so I checked the weather. So here's one of the lessons was we've all kind of touched on timing. Pushing it, trying to rush it, bad idea every time, bad idea. And Sam flew down to Key Largo, so I was trying to push it and race down to Key Largo so I could see her before she had to come back here. So I checked one weather app, and I was like, well, that seems okay. And I took off. And everything was great in the beginning. It was beautiful. I was both sails up, beautiful sail. And I started to notice, going back to the first question on visual signs for weather coming, I started to notice the swells were getting a little bigger. I've learned how to read the water on Lake Pepin. That's where I learned how to sail. No clue on how to read the water on big water. So the swells started getting bigger. So I thought, I don't know what that means, but I'm pulling the sails down. So I pulled the sails down. 20 minutes later, 50-mile-an-hour winds, 8 to 10 foot seas. Now, Rhapsody is 9,800 pounds. She's light and displaceable. And it was no fun at all. I was burying the bow, and yeah, it was no fun at all. I got my butt kicked, and I had 2 days of that. Yeah, that was no fun at all. So, lesson learned, double check that weather. I cross-reference now weather forecasts, and do not rush. We'll wait an extra week if we have to. Wait for that weather window.
Perfect. Good call. Marnie, Blaine?
So one thing I want to point out is I'm definitely not anti-radar. I'm just anti-money at the moment. It has not reached the priority list, but it's close. Our situation we learned, and I think it's a lesson of always check in with your people on land, with your sail plan. Always coordinate with them, because you don't know what your mindset or sea state is after 5 days at sea or 6 days. If you're going to make a major change, run it past your trusted crew, right? Like, we've got a group right here. We're forming groups and families out here. I was leaving Puerto Rico, heading for Florida, with a very green crew, the greenest crew you could possibly have. And I had routed in front of me fine. I felt good where I was going. And I was going to Florida because my father was ill and he was about to pass away. And about the time I got across the Mona Passage to DR, he passed away. And my brain said, well, there's no point in going to Florida anymore. So I turned around. Well, I hadn't routed everything behind me. And I didn't coordinate with my sailing people I know and say, hey, what do you think? Can you see what I'm seeing? In the moment, I'm just like, well, there's no reason to go to Florida anymore. But the Mona Passage is not a place where you just flip a 360, 180. But I wasn't in the right mindset. And there's times where you're not going to be, whether it's sleep deprivation, whether it's you got an illness, whether, I'm allergic to bees and I get stung and I'm on medication. There's 101 things that can make you not in your right mindset. But having somebody to bounce the ideas off of and having somebody on land to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. What do you think that knows about boating is huge, because when you're sitting there soaked up at the helm for 4 hours in a storm, you might not be thinking as smart as the guy who's sitting at home going, okay, you got 2 more hours, write it out, pal.
And it also needs to be someone like away from the situation, because that instance that he was talking about, I had called him to let him know that his dad passed away. And he's like, well, then do you see a need for me to come to Florida? And I said, not really. I mean, that wasn't where we ultimately wanted to be, but it didn't process in my brain. That was what was processing in his brain is I'm going to flip a 180. So it was like, it was definitely, and then he ran into a huge storm.
It was the worst seas I've been in yet. And we were surfing a 40-foot catamaran down waves. I got this awesome picture of this rookie crew member, and her face is just like this. And she window screened. She went beep, 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 and she passed out underneath the table and went down there for 10 minutes. But I had to be at the helm for 36 hours after that, because now we're stuck in the middle of the Mona Passage, no which way to go. So yes, was I stupid? Yes. But to answer your question, what have we learned? We've learned that there are people who know sailing that aren't in your situation that you can use as references. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And to use them and to always have somebody on land that knows where you're going to be when you're supposed to be there. We have it's called Where in the World is Cameo group, but it's a group of people that used to be in the Coast Guard and they're in different time zones. So they get that group of, if we know it's middle of the night on the East Coast, somebody might still be awake on the Pacific time zone. And we're just checking in like, hey, we're 4 hours. We've made it 52 miles. And that way, when we go silent for 3 hours, they at least have a ping on where we were at what time.
Perfect. Thanks. Fresh to salty?
I'm pretty much the same as what everybody else has said, but I would also add have a bailout option. I mean, if you're sailing up the east coast of Florida and going to North Carolina, there are lots of inlets that you can bail out into. I mean, it's not just been us. We've had a buddy boat that got caught out once, and those seas in that area, I mean, they can get pretty high. We've been in 12 foot. We know people that have been in more. The best you can do at that time is point it straight into the wind, have a bit of a reef out. We're fortunate. We've got an in-mast furler, so we can reef to any point. To try and keep the boat stable.
Having some of your mainsail out helps keep the boat makes it more stable. And we didn't know that either. Somebody had to tell us in the middle of a storm. We were dumb and needed to come out.
And then we had people contacting us during the worst one that we've been through, saying, "Oh, it'd be over in 10 minutes," and then 5 hours later, we're still in the middle of it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many times she texted and said, "Just hold on for 10 more minutes and it'll pass. Hold on for 10 more minutes." I was like, "Don't say 10 minutes to me again, because this is not happening. It's not going away in 10 minutes for sure." It was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean that particular storm was a very big storm. The front had come through. I mean, it was over 600 miles long. So I mean, and we were 200 miles out, so there was no way we were going to avoid it. It was then, okay, what's our strategy for coping with it?
Point into the wind. 100% point into the wind. I don't care what direction you're going. Turn into the wind and just ride it out.
Was that before or after you guys learned about the Cape Index?
That was in the event where we learned about the Cape Index.
Okay.
That was the reason we now know about the Cape Index.
So perfect.
I mean, the other biggest issue we've ever had is sailing to a schedule. You'll always get caught out in bad weather doing that.
On that particular one, our daughter was having a baby, and she was going to have a C-section, and she called and said, I need you to come home. And so I booked a flight out of Norfolk, and we were in Florida because our plan was to be in Norfolk. So we were rushing to a schedule to try to get there before my flight, and got caught out. Like, don't do it. Don't ever have a schedule. Don't book a flight until you're actually anchored down. That's our rule, our current rule. We book flights once the anchor hits the ground.
Perfect. Good tips, guys. Salty 5?
Yes, which story you want to hear?
Which one? The scariest one.
The scariest one? Actually, I'm gonna tell not the scariest one. I'm gonna tell the funniest one. I was the captain on a charter boat, and my boss, he didn't care about the people. He cared about the money. He said, "Money, let's go. Wild sea, go out. Otherwise, you lose your job." So all the times, if there was a storm or not, we had to go out, and so we go out on the sea. And I was standing on the bridge on the side of a good friend of me. He was the captain that day. And he just looked me in the eyes. And I was thinking, what do you want from me? He was just keep on looking. He said, and he took the throttle back. And he said, what are you doing? I asked him. He said, look in front of you. And sorry, there's a heli coming over. But he said, look in front of you. And like Sailing Cameo said, I did surfing with a cat. I did it a lot of times in some heavy weather. But this time, it was not a wave who came over the nose of the boat. But I had 60 passengers on board. And the wave came over our boat. So like you see surfers in the wave with a 65 feet cat. I think the whole wave landed on the deck, and there was for like a couple of seconds there was like 2 or 3 feet water on board, and people had to hold the railing because otherwise the wave took them off the boat. So that was my
That's not the scariest one?
No, that's not the scary. No, I was not scary. It was like it was heavy, but we had fun. We had fun in the storm. And the scariest one, we have an ML Super Maramoo, and our friends here down the screen, Mantabir, they call us the finger sailors. And the nice thing, if we come in a storm, we can do everything electric with our sails. And the worst experience I have is taking my sails away. I had 2 storms from like 46 knots. And when I took all the sails away, that was scary because my boat was like going left, right, up, down, all directions. But even if I have to risk to break the sails, if it's not necessary, I will not do it. But otherwise, I will take the risk to break the sails, because if you have a little sail out, and I can trim it with the button, so that's really nice. So I can just take a little out, and then when the storm comes in, I can take a little more sail till I have like enough pressure that I want to have on the sails. And then we did a storm from 46 knots, and we sailed it all the way. Like 3 or 4 hours, and I really can recommend it if you can trim your sails easily and you can take them away any moment. Then I will recommend that. That's what I like the most in the storm. And the scariest ones comes now, and that's I was sailing with the Boy Scouts, and I'm still. When I was young, I had it, and now I still have it. I'm so scary for thunder. And I came in a big thunderstorm in a little sailboat, a lot of wind and a lot of rain. That's the biggest thing. I don't care about big waves. I I had waves from like you guys talk in feet, like 3 feet, 1 meter. Um, yeah, like I can only say it in meters, like 7, 8 meters high. So I know big waves, but for me the scariest thing is thunder. I always try to avoid. If I see on the weather windows, the weather is it's okay, the sea state is fine, but maybe some thunder, I'm done. I hate thunder. I don't want to be in thunder. So that's it. And I have a lot of more stories. That's
Oh
not
yeah,
not
for
the
sure.
time.
Manta Bear?
Yeah.
So I think the scariest for one was we were going from Morro Bay, California, and Jeff had signed us up, the two of us, to crew for this captain that we didn't know, but we just trusted him. Like, oh, he's a captain. He sailed before. He knows
This is
what to
before
do.
we owned a boat, before we
Yeah.
knew better. Part of the
He
lesson.
knows how to do it. Like he just so we jumped in his boat, and the first 2-3 days were fine. But then there's one day we were in Santa Barbara and we left kind of late because I was like, that's weird, we're leaving kind of late, but okay. So we were gonna sail through the night. And then I don't really know much. Jeff will know more of the story, but I remember like we're sailing where the big container shipments are, like close near it, and I was just like, okay. Then we're sailing very close to where they have like the oil, what's it called, like the
Oil rigs out in the
rigs,
ocean, or oil
yeah.
derricks.
And I think
Platforms.
something came in the radio, like you are too close to it, but we're like kind of pretty new, so we didn't really know what that meant until it started to get dark, and it wasn't raining. It was just mainly very windy, and the waves were very high, like very, very high. So Jeff and this other guy that had also like volunteered to help this guy to take his boat to Mexico. They're like doing all the maneuver because he didn't have autopilot.
Oh,
But-
he had it. It just wasn't working. He didn't tell us that beforehand.
Yeah. So then on the radio it comes this announcement like over and over, like small craftery. No, what was it?
A small craft advisory.
Yeah.
We're in a 42-foot pilot house catch. So his boat kind of isn't small craft, but still would be considered small craft because it was upgraded.
Yeah.
And so we were included in that.
And he was like, oh no guys, don't worry, that's for like little boats. We're like in a big boat, and we're like kind of believing but kind of like, I don't know this guy. So I remember I was like, it was so bad that I had like 2 poles and I was holding on, and I could like go like this. It was like really bad. I was like, at that point I'm starting to pray, like honestly, like God, I want to leave. I have 2 kids. I don't want to die here. I still want to raise them, please. Like, and I remember like the boat like turned to the one side, like jive, and and that's when I was like even, and probably Jeff saw my mad face because I wasn't saying anything. I was just like very mad, like
It's nothing we can do.
but I was just there holding, and then Jeff is like,
The storm doesn't kill me. She would have.
He's like, just go to the, just go and sleep. So we were sleeping on we had like the cabin in the.
They gave us the
well.
V berth. So
Yeah.
she's in a monohull in the V berth in the front, trying to sleep between being airborne.
Yeah, no, I remember like, so I went like that, and then my body the whole thing would like jump. And then I would see the waves like over the window, like the water, and then it was snow. And I was just like, so I don't know. I was like really scared. I was scared, like for my life, for everything. And we're gonna be like, sinking this boat, something's gonna happen. But then the next morning, and then just help me out if I miss something. The other crew member, Jeff and I were like, sorry, you don't have any of the devices that help you, like the autopilot or see, like, help you like route. Because the other thing that he did is he just routed from point A to point B, and he just went straight without, like usually our devices will tell you like there's reef here, don't go over here, and like
the transducer on his boat wasn't working either.
Yeah.
So he didn't know the depth below him, which then prevented him from from charting an actual course. So he could just put a straight line between 2 points.
Yes, and that's how we followed it. So I think the main lesson there was like, don't trust anyone, even if he said he had like so many years of sailing, and he had been sailing without the equipment, so I think for him it was pretty okay just to go and figure it out as he was going. But yeah, I don't know.
So to add a couple of additional points on that story, we sailed from Morro Bay down to Santa Barbara just fine. Beautiful sails, absolutely wonderful. All of us taking turns on the sail, and it was gorgeous. But I think what Grace might have forgotten there in Santa Barbara is we went out to breakfast with one of his friends there, and we went back to the boat. And I'm usually an observant person, kind of looking at the boat, our dinghy ride out there, and I'm thinking, that's not where we left the boat. And the captain's saying, no, it's right there. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but we weren't there. We were over there. And he's like, oh, I'm not really sure. And we get on the boat. Sure enough, it's dragging. That should have been our first sign.
Yes.
So then we get in the boat, and the weather's kind of picking up. And we hadn't looked at the weather. We were crew.
Yeah.
It's not our job. Yeah, I was wrong. It should have been our job still. So we went out, and he was saying, yeah, I looked at the weather, and there's a storm coming, but it's just something small. Yeah, it got upgraded into something a lot bigger than what I would call a small storm. And there's no way we should have been out there. We're very lucky to have survived through it. There was a lot of other boats when we first started, but they were all going the other direction because they were going into the harbor. We're leaving. That was our other sign.
That was the other sign that we should pay attention to.
And then so I'm leaving Santa Barbara, and he puts me on the first shift. And he says, well, it's going to be a long night because we're going through the night. Jeff, you take the first shift. The other guy, he'll relieve you in 6 hours. And I'm just thinking, wait a minute, 6 hour shift right out of the bat?
Stirring the whole
and
time.
This is manual. There's no autopilot. And we have following seas, and the following seas were pushing the boat sideways. And so you had to preempt that storm, the wave, and turn the wheel all the way to one side so that way it wouldn't rotate you, and then you have to turn it all the way back. And 6 hours of doing that, and then being relieved. And the captain in the evening said, oh, well, I'm tired. And he went down and just went to bed and left me and this other guy on the helm. And Grace had gone down a little while before. She just, I bless her heart, she couldn't deal with it anymore. I thought that was the end of our sailing dreams of buying a boat. This was kind of a cruise to, not like a leisure cruise, but just, to wet the whistle and learn and see what it'd be about.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about sailing for a couple of weeks after that one. But it came back, and it's just, don't get on a boat and expect everything to be done for you. Look up, look at the weather, whether you're crew, whether you're the captain, no matter what your position is on the boat, look it up. And it's because your life, it's your experience, and you'll learn something, and you can add to it. So that's kind of where we were.
Just before Sailor Sean tells us his scariest lessons learned, the Browns scored. Woo! Go Browns! We scored.
You're muted, Cameo.
We're all rooting for you.
Thing I was muted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
yes, we don't want any red flags.
Oh God. Okay, Sailor Sean.
Well, I'd say the worst thing that's happened to me in boat life is early in boat life, I didn't tie the dinghy up correctly, and a storm came through and it blew the dinghy away. Well, that happened in the middle of the night, and I didn't know. And when I woke up in the when I woke up in the morning, and I come out and the dinghy's gone, boy, that's probably the most, like, when your stomach just, like, hits the bottom of your gut kind of thing, like, that was probably the worst I've ever experienced. And then I ended up finding it. It washed up on a beach, but before it did that, it like banged all night long, and it was a bad deal. But now I taught myself how to splice because of it.
Yeah.
So all of my dinghy painters, all of my my lines for the fenders, not only is it a handle in an emergency, but you have like handles all along where the fenders are now too. So but the scariest thing also happened early in boat life is I was in the ocean side of Marathon, going north, and it was getting dark. But we're like, if we go, I think it's another 25 more miles, and there's the drawbridge, and it'll let you get to the bay side, and it'll be better on that side. So we're like, yeah, just keep going instead of, because we could have pulled into Boot Key Harbor and just called it a night, but we kept going. And when we got in front of Snake Creek, we looked up to like how to contact them because we were young, and we're not young, but we were new to boat life and didn't know. And we realized that they only open every hour on the hour when the sun is up. So we had to throw anchor, and it was really nasty storming out. And so I had an inadequate anchor at the time. So we tossed anchor, and all of a sudden we hooked, and we're like, all right, cool, let's go to bed. And then in the morning when we woke up to pull the anchor in, the bow was like jumping these waves, and then the next wave it was like flush with the deck. It really scared me straight. But when we finally got the anchor up, we realized that we hooked a lobster line, and that was the only reason we stayed in one spot all night long, is because we hooked this huge lobster line. And so it took everything we had to like move forward to unhook the line that kept us, from floating off the cube all night long. And then we finally get up to Snake Creek Bridge, and we didn't have a VHF radio, so one of us was out there on the deck just waving our hands at the bridge, hoping that something would happen. And we're just doing circles in front of the bridge, and then just luck had be having there's a catamaran sailing up, and I know they had a VHF at the moment, and they must have collared into the bridge, and they opened, and we we zipped through. It was probably one of the scariest moments, because we didn't know if they were gonna lift the bridge or not, and here we were. We would have to go back out and 25 miles back to get to the nearest bridge to go around. So it was pretty hairy.
That seems very scary. I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. I'm going to give our lesson learned, because we have a pretty good one. And then if anyone has questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We have a few minutes left. I want to try to get us out of here by 3:30. I know we want Blaine to go watch the rest of the game because the Browns are going to win. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll try to address them. And if any sailors do need to go, that's totally fine. You can head out. So our most memorable lesson, we were green as well, brand new sailors. It was maybe our third or fourth night anchoring out. We had gone from Stewart down to the Florida Keys, and we had just gotten to Isla Morada, and it was near Christmas time. So it was really fun to be able to celebrate down there. But we didn't realize what was going to happen with the winds. We had 50 knots projected, so we were ready for that. We tried to do like a dual anchor mooring. We put two anchors out, one, our main anchor right in the middle of our catamaran, and then another anchor off kind of the starboard bow. So they were kind of at different lengths holding us in. Well, it worked pretty good for most of the night until 4 a.m. We woke up to some violent wind, violent rain, looked outside, and at night you usually try to get a lay of the land, like where are my landmarks, where are my lights, so you know if you're moving or not and in the wrong direction. So we couldn't see any of our lights, we couldn't see our buddy anymore, so we knew something was immediately wrong. Went outside, it's pouring rain. I don't think we even had time to get the rain jacket on or anything. We're dragging at a pretty good pace. The anchors, the wind had come 360, and so our anchors overnight fouled each other. The anchor chain caught each other, and both anchors were now dragging. So I'm at the helm trying to hold us forward in 50 knots of wind, and we're out kind of in the middle of the channel now. So I'm pushing us forward, trying to maintain directions and maintain our pace on the sides. My husband's up front trying to cut off one of the anchors. Luckily, one of the anchor lines was, it was just line, it wasn't chain. So he was able to cut it off. We weren't able to bring in our main anchor, so it was just an absolute mess. So if you go anchoring down, I forget the name of the island, but if you go anchoring near Isla Morada, you might find a big anchor down there as ours. So at some point we're gonna go back and look for it, but our anchor is still hanging out there. So lesson learned on that is definitely don't pay attention to what the wind says because it might completely go the opposite way. Thank you. And also maybe don't do the double anchor mooring. That really didn't help us much. So that's our lesson learned in that. But let me check here and see if there's any comments or if anyone has anything else to throw in at the last second, totally fine. Let's see here. We do have some this is very, sorry, go ahead.
I'll tell you all the funniest story about us in Key West. It was first season, didn't know what we were doing. We were anchored in Key West. We had gone to shore, done a bunch of shopping, came back, put one rope on the dinghy and went in to like dump our stuff because we were going to head right back out and go back to shore. And our son comes up in the cockpit and I hear him say, "Where's our dinghy?" So of course we all come running out because he's asking where the dinghy is. And we see it finally way across the anchorage. We had no way to get it except for a paddle board. So we air up the paddle board. Then we realize that our life jackets are in the dinghy. So we get our like ones that we use for sailing that look like suspenders, you know. Me and Steven, I don't know why I thought I needed to go with him in the first place, but we both get on the paddleboard and we're paddling for all we're worth. While we're watching some dude tie his dinghy up to our dinghy, like he found our dinghy, he's tying up to it. And I watched way too many. Oh wait, I watched too much TV. Anyway, I'd seen these people on TV, and they want to go faster. They lay on the paddleboard, and you know. So I did that, and all of a sudden I hear, psh, and then my life jacket imploded, and I was like, about that time the dude that's taking our dinghy sees us and is like, "Oh, this must belong to those idiots." So he starts coming towards us. He comes up and is like, "Is this your dinghy?" And I'm like, my life jacket's like this. And I'm like, "Yes, please. That's my dinghy." It was the craziest day ever. The guy did bring us back our dinghy. But do not ever get on your paddleboard with one of those life jackets that look like suspenders.
Automatic inflatable. Good tip. That is hilarious. We just had one question. That was from Zelda. Zelda asked, who all have their captain's license and do you recommend to get it? Show of hands, captain's license.
We do not.
Do you recommend to get it, Blaine?
I recommend you get the knowledge, the piece of paper, and the hoops. If you're wanting to do a business, maybe. The captain's license focuses on maritime everything. It doesn't focus on sailing. It doesn't focus on foreign countries. It doesn't focus on a lot of the things we've even talked about here. But everything I learned in captain school is going to pertain to life in here. But the actual piece of paper and the license doesn't do me anything. It's cool to say I have it. There's 4 initials in front of my name. And the captain school primarily is for those who already know the material. If you're going to go get your captain's license, get it from a school that's going to teach you like you're a newbie. Don't go to the 7-day quick turnaround Tampa Bay, like, you know what you're doing and we're just getting your credential school. When I went to captain school, it was a 10-day course, and there was 3 of us that passed.
Out of like 14, wasn't it?
17.
Yeah.
14 failed. Because they weren't teaching, they were expecting you to know a lot. And so if you're going to go for your captain's license, ask yourself why, and then go seek the knowledge first. If you need a job on the water, you need the captain's license, go get it. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts.
Well, just like Captain Ron said, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen out there.
Yeah.
Seriously. I got mine mostly for the knowledge. My husband is a captain and has used his for job-related, either teaching or boat deliveries or that sort of thing, but I got mine mostly for the knowledge. If we ever want to do a delivery together, I think he'll feel more confident telling that client, hey, we are 2 credentialed captains going to be taking a boat from A to B. So that's why I got mine. Want to add in, Salty 5? Captain's license tips?
I had it because I was working on a charter boat, but I don't know actually which one you guys have, but it took me 6 months to have it. And then you go through a big book with lots of information, and you will learn a lot. So yeah, I like it a lot. But what Sailor Swan says, that's it. The paper says nothing. When you are on the water, it's you and the boat. So, but it's good to learn you like about everything a little. That's really nice about maintenance, safety, safety for your crew and for your boat, and where to look at, and yeah. So I like it. Yeah, I like that I have it. Yeah.
Salty Five, I do have a question. Where did you get certified? Where my curiosity is like ours are U.S. Coast Guard, right, Randy Joe? So was yours U.S. Coast Guard or somewhere else? And I wonder if there's any differences in the requirements.
Yes, I have the Caribbean version, and I'm allowed to have 60 people on board and drive all the boats except cruise ships and oil ships. So I think it's a little bit a bigger license. But to show you, actually, it's it's in my wallet, which I don't have in my pocket for maybe a year because I pay everything with my phone. So which one it is, I cannot tell you now, but I can look it up if you want.
That's awesome.
No problem.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, to take this one, it takes 4 years. So I did it in 6 months. So like it's the same in Curacao. I took all my license from bigger trucks and so and that kind of stuff. Everything you can do that faster than like if you do it in Europe. The one that I have, it takes 4 years. So yeah, that was really nice.
And Bokenshaw mentioned that they're ASA certified, so that's definitely something you can do if you're looking into be a sailor. It's a little bit easier to get those classes taken care of and knock them out. And they have a lot of options too. The ASA 101, 103 are the two main ones, but you can continue to add on to your certifications for American Sailing Association. So that's another good tip.
I would honestly say that's more important than captain's license to begin with.
Yeah.
I think you learn more about handling a boat than you do during captain school. Captain school, how to avoid accidents or how to avoid other boats or how to identify other boats. The ASA teaches you how to operate your boat better, in my opinion.
Especially if you do the ASA on your own boat.
Yes.
You learn so much about your own boat.
Yeah, we didn't have the option to do it on our own boat. It was before we purchased our boat, and it was the start of our kind of wanting to get out there on boats. And we did it as a family vacation where the family, we all went together, and we was in Santa Barbara. And we just stayed on the different boats there at the Santa Barbara Marina. And they're the ones that trained us each day. We got out there. We, really were in it for a full week of training. And I loved it. That was a great experience. And it was kind of the beginnings of this experience, which was now 10 years that we did that. But I think you're right that the most information comes from that and is most relevant to us. I think the way our lifestyles are living on the water and traveling a lot, that I think the ASA is kind of more relevant.
I will say if you want to take the ASA on your own boat, so we did ASA 101 on our before we bought a sailboat. We had a power boat at the time, and then you're on a sailboat. Three and the 104 on this boat. If you ever want to do that, you need to prepare yourself. That they have typically a minimum requirement of 3 or 4 students. So if it's just us taking the class and you can't find anybody else that wants to pay to be on your boat, you probably need to pay for 3 or 4 students to do it on your. Like we paid for I think 3, even though only the 2 of us were taking the class.
Gotcha. So this is just a show of hands. Has anyone sailed the Mediterranean yet? No med sailors yet. Okay. Ask that question again in a few years.
One day.
Open to in about a month or so.
This kind of relates to Beachy also had a question about the captain's license. Thought it depended on the size of the boat for what you're qualified to captain. Captains, want to answer that one? Depends on the size of the boat for what you are qualified. I guess
There's different categories of captain's license. You start off with, well, I don't know, start off. I'm sure there's people who can go directly to certain ones. I don't know how the Coast Guard regulates which one you get first, but there's a 6-pack license. And then the 6-pack license is based off your experience, how many ton boat you're allowed to be a 6-pack license captain for. There's near coastal and coastal endorsements for your license based on your experience and where you've sailed. And then there is a 50, 100, and 200 ton master, if I'm not mistaken. And they go up from like that. But
A lot of it is how many hours of experience you have on such boats.
They're not, yeah, if you're on a boat like our size and you're going for your 200 ton master and all of your hours are on this boat, you're not going to get your 200 ton master. That's how I was explained to it by the Coast Guard guy that called me to try and identify what size boat our first boat was, because I had to go back like 10 years for boating experience. And so that's all I know of the system. I didn't care past this boat. This is our last boat.
Pickled Egg asks, have you ever encountered pirates? Anybody?
Just the Melvin stealing food? No.
No,
I did.
Brooke asked, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, we kind of did in a very odd place when we were coming down the river. We had pulled into La Crosse, Wisconsin, and had a little trouble there.
Wow.
Now, would you say that those were pirates or tweakers on the water?
Probably sneakers.
Yeah. We've run into tweakers on the water in Florida.
Oh yeah, in Key West for sure.
Bradenton.
Brooke asked, I think she's up on the Great Lakes. Do you guys sail there? Anybody? Mine is one of the most dangerous, according to sailors. Great Lakes, anybody? Been there?
We've never done the Great Lakes.
No. Yep, it's on the list for sure.
I was born in Racine, which is on the shore of Lake Michigan, and I've never sailed. Been out on power boats, never sailed it, but I agree. The Great Lakes can be extremely treacherous.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the ocean. It's the same thing. It's like the Chesapeake too.
Mm-hmm.
It can just come out of nowhere and be pretty scary. Well, I think we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. If you guys that are watching haven't followed everybody, please go and do follow. If you have more questions, a lot of us raise your hand if you go live or you want to go live. So a lot of us go live. A real 2005 definitely goes live. You can ask questions there too. We love to answer any and all questions. Who has the biggest boat of you all? We're 38.
I'm
We're
on a
50.
46. Oh,
It's a
50.
We're
weird
50
question. It's a
We already
weird
know we
question.
lost to the boat in front of us.
I think it's a
So what catamaran or monohull? They're different because the Salty
Yeah.
Five's got a big mono.
30.
Well, I think it's a hard question to answer because we're 40 foot, but I would say Randy Joe at 30. Did you say 38?
Yeah.
Probably has more room, or your boat's bigger than ours because we're
Quieter. For
I'm a
sure.
46 catamaran, and we've got a lot of space.
Yes.
I
We're
wish.
pretty comfortable. It's a 3-bedroom apartment, it feels like.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Blake. Yes, we are on a 50-foot catamaran.
Okay, you win.
Acreage filler.
It's a 3-bedroom apartment.
That's awesome. We're all coming to your boat then.
Sounds good. Hey, maybe if you all want to come down, we can do the next round table right here on our boat.
Yeah.
All together.
So fun.
I know
Well,
the
for the next roundtable, we're looking at October to be a cooking version. So maybe if you want to be in the galley, you can actually show us a quick meal, something like that. So think about that for next time, is cooking on a boat, or just recipes in general that anyone could do, obviously, but that might be the next topic for next month. So I want to thank all of our sailors for being Here, you guys will have the option to download the recording if you'd like, so I'll figure that out and let you know how it works. But thank you guys so much, everybody for being here. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Randy Joe.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
Thank
right.
you.
Randy Joe, thanks. You're amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Good to see everybody.
Everyone in the chat joining.
Go
Thanks
Browns.
all.
Yeah, thank you,
Go
everyone.
Browns.
Sailor Sean, hey Sailor Sean, I'll be in touch soon. We're getting our dates together for when we're heading down, so I'll keep you posted.
Here's my new chair.
Awesome. Love it.
Disconnect. That way you'll keep all the points that have been given to you. So you just click on your face and hit disconnect. And then we'll see each other later.
So click on her face. It's not disconnecting.
I think there's like
Blaine, I just love you.
the X. You leave live, right? You just press leave live.
I think so.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
And we will be live for
Bye,
sunset.
guys. Thanks.
Woohoo!
Trying to time that right.
I don't know.
I think it's disconnect or leave live. Touch your face.
I'm trying to, but can you repeat what I have to do?
Touch your face on the screen.
Touch your face. Okay.
And then see if a button comes up to disconnect. No?
No.
Okay, try at the bottom.
So
Click. Try at the bottom and see if there's like two little pink and blue persons. Click on that one.
I think this one is gonna work. Yeah, I'm gonna leave. Bye bye.
Okay, bye. It's the X at the okay. We got it. All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure everybody kept their points. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I might have a sunset tonight, but thank you guys for being here. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.